Welcome to another episode of The American Dream, the only show that combats negative media. In each show, we have inspirational national interviews meant to bring us together, to lift us up in a very bipartisan way. What you're going to see on today's show are some of those interviews. Also, in every program, in each city, we integrate in the best local market experts to let you know what's happening in your own backyard. You're going to absolutely love today's show. Don't forget, while you're watching us on cable, you can also check us out online, follow us on social media as we do the show here today. Let's get the American Dream started right now. Every single day, you are consumed with information. With the 24/7 negative news cycle and a pop culture that's polluting the airways, all selling out for the ratings game. Well, guess what? There's a more positive way to look at life. You live in the greatest city in the greatest country on the planet. Every day with our elite network of professionals, our goal is to educate, empower, and engage. And now it's time to fight for your American dream. Is the American dream dead? That's going to be the word on our show here today. You know, you hear this question a lot. It's put out there by the mainstream media. Maybe you wonder it yourself. Maybe a college student with debt. Maybe you're facing challenges at work or whatever it might be. The question is, do you believe the American dream is dead? I believe that's a self-fulfilling prophecy, not only as individuals, but as a country as a whole. Look, millions of people went into this country for a reason. Now, that's not a political statement. Whether you believe in a wall or not, that's political. But the fact that millions want in, not out, that's a good problem to have. And if you don't want to stay here, you have the freedom to actually leave. That is a country that operates on freedom. And I believe that the American dream is alive and well as long as you put good thoughts into your head. So when you tune into the show, I want to remind you, we're not here to divide you like the negative media. That's how they generate their ratings and ultimately their money. We're not owned by a network. We're commercial free. We're unscripted. And we're supported by partners that we've flown all across the country to bring onto the show as experts out of your city. So when we talk about things like the American dream, I believe it's alive and well, but it's all about what you put in between your own ears. That's what our show is predicated on, and that's what we're going to get today, and that is the word on the American dream. If you want to comment, love to hear from you on social media, good, bad, ugly. Please follow the show, breathe oxygen into our positive story. That being said, let's go ahead and start this show and all the interviews right now. Now, this is going to be an interesting topic for me as the CEO of Ignite Media, the host of the show, The American Dream. We got a media guru here, CEO of Proper Media, Chris Richman, here to just share your story. You've had an amazing trajectory in your career, bouncing around part-time between our country and what would be considered part of our country, Puerto Rico. Good to have you on the show, man. Thanks for coming in town.
Yeah, thanks, Craig.
So tell us a little bit about your journey, because I know it's pretty interesting. Like, you attended university at 16 years old.
Yeah, I kind of raced quickly I tested out of high school, went to UNLV when I was 16, and I was determined to try to kind of go quickly. And once I reached the age of 18, I realized that school was just not doing it fast enough.
Yeah.
So I dropped out. I ordered a couple dozen books on Amazon, and I just started reading. And I decided I'm going to start something myself. So I taught myself programming, and I was going to create an internet service provider. And when I went to look for a name for the company, I got caught up with domain names, and my first company ended up being a search engine for domain names with kind of using algorithms to help find new pronounceable names and things of that nature.
Wow. Now, that was through the past 11 years. What are you guys doing now?
So now, basically, we leverage that to acquire more websites and then build an ad network. So now we have an ad network called Proper Media, where if you have a website with more than 1 million users and you make money through advertisements, we help increase the competition by having a platform which does what's called header bidding, to have many exchanges competing in real time to have the highest price for each user for that advertisement.
So one of my mentors used to say that if you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room. And so you're obviously bringing a lot of really high-level knowledge around internet, digital. So if you think anything does come up in the next 12, 24 months, what do you think people should be mindful of? Like Gary Vee, I listen to him a lot, talks a lot about audio being the next thing with Alexis. In this technology land grab that we're seeing right now and all this evolution, it's fascinating. And I want to make sure that we're giving advice so people can try and keep up with it, whether you're an entrepreneur, a professional, business owner. What advice would you give to just stay current with some of these dramatic changes you're seeing?
I think the idea is to stay nimble and to just always be ready to adapt. I think things are happening too quickly, and you're not going to really know where the next course of action is. So if you're just able to adapt and say, okay, well, everything is moving to this type of technology for ads or for driving traffic or for hosting, just basically be ready to always watch where things are going and then head that way.
Chris, thank you so much for coming on the show. CEO of Proper Media. Some good knowledge you dropped here today. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
All right. World is changing. You got to stay with it. More of the American Dream coming up next. All right, nothing better illustrates the American dream than this story right here. As you know, as you tune into this show, we're not owned by a network, we're commercial free, and we're unscripted. However, when you have a guy that has this many accomplishments, I honestly got to read a little bit. So we have Matthew Griffin, goes by Griff, West Point grad and former Ranger, so a hero that served in the military, did tours, platoon commander, the co-founder of Combat Flip Flops, which is a Shark Tank company with Mark Cuban get behind you, and Google's Economic Impact Company of the Year. That's a mouthful, and I know I just left a ton of stuff out. Griff, thanks for coming on the show, man.
Well, thanks for having me today. I think you guys have an amazing show and an amazing message.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate your service first and foremost. Let's dive into what you have going on with Combat Flip Flops. Where's your passion come from? What are you guys doing? Share the story.
So we're former Special Operations Army Rangers. We served multiple tours overseas, and what we saw was that economic leaders and economic development was a more sustainable path to ending the conflict and the war. And I think the last 16 or 17 years has kind of proved that out across multiple conflict areas. And we decided we were going to put our money where our mouth was, and we started a flip-flop and a fashion company in Afghanistan, and that's spread out to Colombia, Laos, and some manufacturing here in the U.S. And then with all of our profits, we put little girls to school in Afghanistan because the long-term sustainable solution to conflict is education. Wow,
man, that's an amazing purpose that you have behind it all. So tell us about your experience on Shark Tank. I'd love to hear about that with Cuban.
It was a spectacular experience. A lot of people think it's fake, but it is not. It is real. It is legit. We went on the show. We closed with Mark Cuban, Damon John, and Lori Grenier, and now we're actively working with Mark Cuban to promote our products on Amazon and on our website. And they've been spectacular partners, great mentors. Their entire team has gotten behind the mission, and we're super thankful for them and the whole Shark Tank experience. In the 36 hours after we got on Shark Tank, we did more business than we'd done in our entire company history.
Unbelievable.
And we put over 220 girls in school in Afghanistan.
How big's your organization, Griff?
We are an extremely lean American small business. We have 5 employees, and we do this across multiple nations.
And how many girls in Afghanistan have you put to school?
Company history to date, over 500.
How does that work? Because I really want to kind of go to the core of what your passion is here. You raise the money, you say you donate the profits to this cause. How do you make it happen?
So there's 2 real ways to stop conflict. One is to give somebody a sustainable job every day where they can go to work. Somebody would rather go to work every day and earn a reliable living and go home safely instead of taking a job to plant a backpack bomb or an IED. So our first method of ending conflict is to do that. And the second method is with every part of our products, or with every product sold, we donate a day of school for education through an organization called Aid Afghanistan for Education. And it's the leading secondary education program in Afghanistan for women. They educate over 3,000 girls in 13 schools in northern Afghanistan, and they're working to provide women with technical and employable skills. So that way they can sustain themselves, their families, and their communities when the fighting is over.
Matthew Griffin, AKA Griff, again, thank you for your service and just what you've done since you've served to continue to just help the world be a better place. Awesome message for the American Dream. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us today.
All right, catch you next time. More of the American Dream coming up next. All right, welcome back to the show. Now, this is an awesome guest. If I'm going to be authentic here, I got to let you know I've known this gal for years. She is a friend of mine. When I met you, you weren't a best-selling author, though.
I was not.
Yeah, so
Lots
Kelly
happened.
Resendez joins us on the show, executive with Paramount Equity, influencer, got this new book, Big Voices, which is a top seller with Amazon.
Yeah.
Staying busy.
Yes.
So catch us up. So lead me to the passion that caused you to write the book in the first place.
Yeah, just getting into the personal growth world, it was an opportunity for me to awaken and really figure out who I was. And in doing that and going on that journey, I realized that there were just a lot of mistakes that I made along the way that I wanted to share with other people so that as they start to write a new story for themselves, they don't go through the same negative experiences that I did. And, we're in a state where people, including women everywhere, are suffering at a level that we haven't seen before. And,
how so? I'm obviously not a woman, right? So help me better understand.
Yeah, well, the ugly truth is more women are on psychiatric medication than ever before. Obesity is at a rise. Women are experiencing stress in the workplace and a lack of balance that we've ever seen. And when we couple all those things together, we're just in a state where people just aren't experiencing a high level of joy. And a lot of that suffering isn't what we see. We see the smiles on social media.
Right.
And then when you get behind the scenes, we see women that are just really not sleeping at night, not taking care of themselves, and not feeling fulfilled.
Well, a lot of what you see on social media, I think, is a catalyst for that because it makes everybody's else life look amazing, and you're having these, maybe in many cases, normal struggles, life struggles that are spiraling out of control just on how you think it should be. That's kind of one of the, social media I love, and you also hate for reasons like that. So tell us about the book. So it references the journey that you've been through to get to this point in your life, and you're sharing it with others. So tell us a little bit about what's going on in the book.
Yeah, so it really is an invitation to women to just become more mindful of who they are, learn how to think differently. So I give them strategies. When you really think about it, we believe that happiness should just come, and that's not the case. For those of us that experience true joy, it is work every single day. We have to wake up and prepare ourselves to face, whatever it is that we do within the day. And so I give women strategies that include my thought management strategy.
Yeah, give us some examples of the strategies.
Yeah, so it really separates your big voice, which is your most authentic self, from your little voice, which are all of the, thoughts that are disempowering, like
fears,
I'm not enough, and fear, anxiety, stress, hopelessness. Giving people strategies where they can just quickly just dismiss some of those things. I wish there was a way to avoid them completely.
Sure.
I tried that. I thought that I could slay the little voice, and it never worked. And so I've just learned to live with it and be able to overcome it so that I stay in joy the majority of the time.
And I know that yours is very much focused on women, and that's kind of your niche, and you're going on an awesome trail. These are man things too. I'm happy to admit the little voice, right? That subconscious chatter, those doubts, those fears. That's not necessarily tied to a gender. So, man, maybe you should pick up this book as well. What is your goal with the book? Where do we go next as Kelly Resendez?
Yeah, so I really want to be able to speak to more women so that we can rise up and make a bigger difference in the world. We're so powerful, and we don't give ourselves that credit. When we think about whether it's the food industry or the medical industry or the pharmaceutical industry, we're so powerful to be able to change many things that would just really make things better here in the United States. And so it gives women just the tools that they need to be able to get there so that we can start advocating for better, standards within the food industry or health industry or other places, because a lot of times we just sit back and we don't take action and we complain about what's going on. And so I believe that through this book and empowering women, whether it's to take higher leadership positions or be more vocal about what needs to change, that it will really make an impact.
I know that you've really niched to, you're a leader in business, and now you're taking it out, helping people all across the country. I think it's awesome. This is why she's a friend of mine. I hope you buy the book, Rising Star, that's kind of already there. Good stuff. Thanks, Kelly.
Thank you, Craig.
All right, more of the American Dream coming up next. Well, as you know, the American Dream is a national program where we focus on business, the entrepreneurial spirit, overcoming adversity, finance, the market, all things that are relevant to empowering your American Dream. But a big topic of conversation on this show is housing. So what we do is we integrate local, top-producing, award-winning realtors to cover a wide range of topics on that subject, different micro markets, different niche subject matter. Housing is such a big topic, so we're going to bring you a lot of information right now from some of the best in your market. Let's check out these interviews.
Hi, I'm Ed Lane, and this is Jana Sky, and we're with Hometown Advisor Real Estate.
Hi, we are here at this beautiful home located in Mercer Island, 7406 North Mercer Way, to show you some tips about the spring maintenance. And because the spring is coming and the sun is out and the tulips are starting to sprout, let's work around and see what kind of work we need to do to make your home more beautiful and more enjoyable. Shall we work around?
Let's go.
Let's go.
Your lawn really is the centerpiece of your landscaping, and what a lot of people don't realize is a good clean edge on your lawn will make the entire lawn look a lot better. Now this time of year, there's a couple other things you should focus on. Number one is aeration, the other is thatching. When you aerate and thatch, it actually gets all of the dead grass out and it allows the water to get down to the root system. And in the end, your lawn will be much, much greener.
Yeah, don't forget about your planting beds. That's very important as well. So I do know for this house, there is an irrigation system, so they can use the water from the lake in the summer. That's a lot of money saving for the summer.
Yeah. In the Northwest, with our wet winters, when the sun comes out on a spring day like it is today, the moss just goes bananas and comes up. If you pressure wash your driveways and your walkways though, it's gonna make your house pop. And it's almost the same as getting your teeth cleaned. When your driveway is bright and white, it makes your house look awesome. And one thing I'll show you about this particular house is it actually has a built-in integrated pressure washer that you can use to clear the walkways and the driveways. So you're really gonna enjoy that.
The same goes with your dog. If you're lucky enough to have one,
Yeah.
get rid of the screen and make it sparkle. It's not only look great for your dog, and it's safer as well.
That's good advice. Safe is good.
Yeah.
Let's go inside and see what else we can spruce up for the spring.
Sure. Spring is also a great time to do the periodical maintenance, just as you do throughout the year.
Yeah, for example, changing batteries in your smoke detectors, changing batteries in your carbon monoxide detectors. In fact, now it's a federal law that you have to have both of those in your home. So if you are thinking about selling, make sure you install carbon monoxide detectors because there's many homes that don't have those automatically already in place. You know, another thing you should think about this time of year is your furnace. You should be changing your filters every 90 days. So if you haven't done it for a little while, that's okay, but change them now. And the other thing to think about is cleaning out your ductwork. That's a good idea to do it once a year, and spring's the perfect time to do it.
I hope you were able to pick up some tips about springing, because the days is getting longer and the weather is getting nice. And also, if you have been wondering the location we are working around, actually this is my current listing in Mercer Island. This is a magnificent custom-built home. It's about 8,000 square foot with a private dock and in almost half acre actually. And if you want to schedule private showing, visit my website, seattletopproperties.com.
Yeah, and if you'd like to find out more about our comprehensive off-market system, where we give people priority access to homes like this one before they go on the MLS or the internet, come and visit us at our website, wholesalehomeaccess.com. Other than that, we hope you picked up some insight on how to make your home pop this spring, and thank you for joining us. Back to you in the studio.
Hi, I'm Jem Morris, co-host of The American Dream. Don't forget, you can always watch more of our content online and follow us along on social media.
Welcome back to the show. We now take you to the Pacific Northwest in Seattle, Washington to speak with Lonnie Fischer. She's the managing broker and CEO of Lonnie Fischer Homes. Welcome back to the show, Miss Lonnie Fischer. Hi, Lonnie.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for coming on to The American Dream again. So my question for you is, we talk a lot about the buying side, so I wanted to focus a little bit on the selling side with you today. What are the top 5 things that sellers should be aware of?
So you're right. We're talking about a lot of the buyer stuff, what's going on out there. And so 5 things that the seller should be aware of is, number 1, and I think it's the most important, is really picking an agent who understands what's going on with the market. It's going to be super critical. You're dealing with one of the biggest assets of your life, and you're talking about selling it, right? And so you want to make sure the agent has a very knowledgeable background of their sales, what's going on, how do they negotiate the offers, and what's taking place with the comps that are comparable to your home. Okay. And then number two, I would say, is you want to make sure that you depersonalize your home. The worst thing about it is you don't want buyers or potential buyers coming in seeing your memories. You want them to envision their own memories with their own family, or if they're building a family. So that would be number two. Number three, I would say, is another super, super critical point. Maybe just as important as number one is pricing your home correctly. Now, in this market, across the nation, we're low inventory, and I'm pretty sure you guys are hearing that all over the place, all right?
Over. Yep. Yep.
Seattle market, Tacoma market, no different. We're super low inventory, and at the same time, what we're seeing here as a trend is sellers who are thinking about selling their home or have their home on the market, they're getting a little greedy. And so what they're trying to do is they're trying to push the envelope and say, no, this is what I'm going to take for an offer and no less, when the comparables don't support that. And second of all, it's not us sellers and it's not the agents that are advising and guiding that set the market tone. It's really the buyers out there. If the house is priced or not priced correctly, the buyers are not going to buy it, and they know exactly what the value is going to be. They're out there looking at tons of homes, going out there competing against, sometimes 18, 20, 30 offers. So they know what the market value is and what a home should be priced for. So that's one of the biggest expectations that us as agents or us as realtors need to be having when we're talking about putting a seller's home on the market. Mm-hmm. Number four, if you're still living in your home, hide your valuables. Hide anything that you don't want people to know that you have. There are times out there where we're seeing that people are casing their homes. They're coming through open houses and they're looking at what's going on, and that sometimes can make them a target for theft. And so be aware of who's coming through your home and be aware of what valuables you have out. So what's that, 4?
Yep.
And then number 5, let's see here, there's so many, but I would say make sure you do probably a smell test on your home.
Okay.
And that's probably going to be odd, and you probably don't hear that a lot, right? But a smell test, if you have pets in your home, or if you're a smoker, or if you have different things going on, you have mold that you didn't know of, you definitely want to make sure that when people come into your home or potential buyers come into your home and you have it on the market, the worst thing you want to do is walk into a house and have something really horrible hit you as you walk through the door. So I would say those are probably the top 5, but 1 and 3 are probably the most important: pricing your home correctly and having an agent who knows and understands your overall goals.
All right. Well, those are really good for the selling side, those top 5 points. And I love that you go to the owner, because I know how important first impressions are. So you can probably kiss a good offer goodbye if somebody walks into your home and it doesn't smell nice. But anyway, I know that we're getting really short on time, so I just wanted to ask you really quickly. We hear a lot about FSBOs, which are for sale by owner. What are some risks briefly for FSBOs?
For FSBOs, I think the biggest risk for a person who's looking to sell their home on their own is the legality issues. There are seller disclosures in every single state. In here, Washington State, we do have to have that form filled out. So if you feel like you are going to sell your home, make sure you're disclosing all the defects up front. You could sell your home, and months later down the road, you can find out that a lawsuit's being drawn up against you because you didn't do something correctly. You didn't give them the proper pamphlets as far as lead-based paint or the agency disclosures, things like that. So super, super, super important. And then I would say the other thing besides that is just knowing that we know as agents that for sale by owners or FSBOs when they do it that way, they're trying to save on a commission. What they don't know is that normally they're losing about 20% of what they can get on their home because they don't have the eyes on it like the Northwest MLS or that the marketing that an agent can do. So instead of paying a 6% commission, they're actually losing on top of that, 19% of what they could have got.
Well,
and so that's super huge.
I feel like what I'm getting away from this interview today, Lonnie, is don't even bother with doing a for sale by owner. It sounds like such a headache. You might get sued and you might lose a lot more money. So I think if you live in Washington, give Lonnie Fischer a call. Lonnie, thank you so much for coming onto the show again. It's always great to have you here on The American Dream.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I hope you have a great one.
You too. And stick around. We'll be right back.
You just heard from award-winning realtors about your marketplace. It's one thing to find your dream home. It's another thing to finance it. I've traveled the country to find the best mortgage experts in every city. You're going to hear from yours in a Mortgage Minute right now. Let's check it out.
All right, we're here with our Mortgage Minute with Phil Rasmussen from Synergy One. Phil, thanks for being here with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. So in 2018, I know that there's a lot of changes going on in the mortgage industry. What are some of the most impactful changes that you've seen?
Well, most recently, there's been a huge evolution in the industry in terms of the customer experience with technology. For years, customers have been used to feeling like they have to go and collect every document they've ever received over the last 10 years of their life. But the digital mortgage process has really enhanced the customer experience, reducing how many papers that the customer has to collect and easing the friction that the process generally generates, including the ability for them to kind of get the loan process started at any time of day, online through their smartphone, and then being able to reach the very mortgage professionals that can help them identify the right product at various times. So it's getting a lot easier, a lot smoother, and I think the trend is going to continue to go that direction.
It's huge. We're saving trees and making it more streamlined. So thank you for talking with us about that today.
Absolutely. I think there's a lot more coming in the future, but I really appreciate being here.
Awesome. Thanks, Phil.
Thank you.
All right, that's all for today's episode of The American Dream, where our goal is to educate, empower, and engage your American dream, combating that negative media. Look, you heard a lot of great information. If you want to comment on the show, I'd love to hear from you on social media. But also, you heard from some of the best professionals in your city, mortgage, real estate, finance. Look, if you have questions on this stuff, my number one job is to be your consumer advocate. Shoot me an email. I would love to hear from you, Craig@craigsewing.com. You have questions, you need introductions, no strings attached. That's not how we built this thing. It's all to give back to you and empower your American dream. That's all for today's show. We'll see you next time.
The preceding program was sponsored by Ignite Now Media with promotional consideration by Synergy One Lending.